Eric Trump might be one of the quieter kids in the Trump family, but lately he's been stepping more into the spotlight. So, what's his relationship like with his dad, Donald Trump? And what was Eric's childhood really like? Let's dig in. Eric has shared some pretty interesting stories about growing up with his father. Believe it or not, he started working on construction sites when he was just 11 or 12 years old. He was doing real hard labor, breaking down walls, working with concrete, plumbing. You name it.
Minimum wage, and he put us on those sites because he cared about work ethic. There was no free time. There was no nonsense. You're going to work. If you want a bike, you're going to go work for it.
When Eric was only 4 years old, his dad already had some strict rules in place.
I tell a story all the time. I walk into his room every morning, give him a kiss before school. Eric, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. Every single day. I'm 4 years old.
Now, Eric admits that his dad was pretty strict and had high expectations. He said they didn't spend a ton of time doing typical dad and son things like playing catch. Instead, a lot of their time was spent with Eric watching his dad work in his office. It wasn't the usual childhood, but it made Eric who he is today.
He was strict in his own way. He had high expectations of us. He also made us work very, very hard. I was on construction sites.
Fast forward a bit, and according to Eric, he was actually the first in the family to support Donald Trump's decision to run for president.
Ever, and it's unprecedented what he's done. He was a businessman who ran for president of the United States, and he's a Republican nominee and doing incredible in the polls.
Before 2016, Eric was already deeply involved in the family business. He remembers his dad pulling him aside in Iowa and saying, "Hey, I want you to run the company." That was a huge moment for Eric. From that point on, he threw himself into managing the Trump Organization, handling properties, teams, new projects, basically everything. And guess what? Eric says he really found a new passion for the work.
Well, I think the thing that's made us really good at what we do is we care about it. We're passionate about it. We love doing it. I do this 7 days a week. I put on more travel miles than any person in the world.
Eric also shared that before 2016, Donald was thinking about running for president back in 2012, but the family wasn't quite ready to have him step away from the business then. Eric knew he had to step up to prove they could handle it, and eventually, he did. Eric even keeps a framed newspaper headline on his office wall with a note from his dad that says, "This is all yours," which Eric calls the moment he felt the business truly passed into his hands.
Working in the Trump Organization, every day you have a different experience. It's not cookie cutter. You're not just sitting behind a computer. You're in the field. You're speaking with people. You're networking. You're doing jobs all over the world. And so you really learn something on the job every single day. You come across unique situations.
Nowadays, Eric is the executive vice president of the Trump Organization alongside his brother, Donald Jr. Together, they oversee everything from managing the empire to new developments and construction projects. The role Eric holds used to be his dad's, and he's clearly ready to take the company to new heights.
We have a great family dynamic. I think that's probably the most incredible thing about the Trump Organization. We really, really work well together.
What's really interesting is that Eric seems pretty comfortable working behind the scenes. He says he's happier chatting with a foreman in a hard hat or helping solve staffing issues than standing in front of reporters. Now, when asked if he thinks he runs the company better than his dad, Eric was quick to give credit where it's due. He said nobody does business like Donald Trump. I wouldn't be foolish enough to say I do it better, but what I'll say is, it's been a long journey, and I'm happy we're the best we've ever been, Eric admitted. And if you're thinking this all sounds like a path toward politics, well, Eric doesn't see it that way. When asked if he might run for office someday, he gave a pretty honest answer, probably not. Politics, he said, is brutal. Eric is more focused on his company, his family, and the work that drives him every day. And compared to his older brother Donald Trump Jr., Eric's take on their childhood seems a lot more positive. Donald Trump Jr. is not just the eldest son of Donald Trump, he's also one of his loudest cheerleaders. But things between them weren't always picture perfect. In fact, their relationship was rocky for years. It all started when Trump Jr. was just 12. His parents, Donald and Ivana Trump, were going through a highly publicized divorce, complete with tabloid headlines like "Best Sex I've Ever Had" splashed across the front pages. Yeah, imagine being a kid and seeing that while riding to school. No wonder Trump Jr. didn't speak to his dad for a whole year. According to a 2004 New York Magazine profile, he blamed the breakup on his father, who had been having an affair with Marla Maples.
It was just so clear, and the trust was broken so badly that I knew that there was just no way it could be patched.
Later, though, Trump Jr. admitted he might have been influenced by his mom's side of the story.
It was a tough thing that he was going through.
And Ivana didn't mince words. He needed a father figure, she said, adding that Donald was rarely around. They had to go to his office just to say hello before school. So when the kids turned 21, she told him, "Here's the finished product." It was her way of saying, "I raised them. Now, it's your turn." After the divorce, Donald Jr. and his younger brother Eric were sent off to boarding school in Pennsylvania, far from the chaos of New York society. There, Don Jr. found a bit of peace and took up skeet shooting, something his father probably wouldn't have touched unless it came with gold trim. "When I went to boarding school, all those inconveniences just went away," he said at the time. Translation? He finally got a break from the Trump spotlight.
It's going to take a long time to recover.
But the real father figure in Don Jr.'s early life wasn't Donald. It was his maternal grandfather, Milos Zelnicek. During summers in the Czech countryside, Grandpa Milos taught him how to camp, hunt, fish, and even speak Czech, a far cry from Fifth Avenue. By the time college rolled around, Trump Jr. was following in his dad's footsteps at Wharton. But let's just say his college reputation wasn't all business suits and board meetings. According to classmates, he partied hard and was known for drunken brawls and dramatic stunts. One former classmate even claimed that Trump Sr. once slapped Don Jr. in front of his dorm mates for not dressing up properly for a Yankees game.
People think of me as not necessarily nice.
That story was later denied by the Trump family, but do we believe them? You decide. After college, instead of joining the family business right away, Don Jr. took off to Aspen, Colorado. He lived out of a truck, bartended, and soaked in the great outdoors. Sounds like he needed a serious break from all things Trump. During this phase, he barely spoke to his father at all. In fact, he got arrested during Mardi Gras in New Orleans for public drunkenness and spent nearly half a day in jail.
Don't drink. Don't drink.
Eventually, he left the mountains behind and joined the Trump Organization.
Well, real estate is real estate, right?
His first big assignment was Trump Park Avenue. But even then, father and son didn't always see eye to eye. Don Jr. wanted more modern designs, but Trump Sr. insisted on, you guessed it, gold doorknobs. At one point, Jr. even joked about putting Trump Jr. on the building. His father said no surprise there. Despite all the drama, over the years they managed to patch things up. These days, Don Jr. is his dad's ride-or-die supporter. From rallies to rants, he's been front and center in the MAGA movement. And he's not shy about hinting at his own political future either. At the Qatar Economic Forum, he was asked if he'd ever consider stepping into his dad's shoes as the next leader of the movement.
Well, it's an honor to be asked and an honor to see that some people are okay with it.
Those are just our friends.
Yeah, that's
row,
probably just a couple people we know.
Those are the tickets we got.
Yeah,
that's it. Right.
You never know.